I do think the biggest and most significant impact of the Super Bowl has already begun to occur. And that is everybody wants their own Tom Brady. What do I mean by that? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year were 7-9. They were a football team that had not been to the playoffs in 12 years. They change hardly anything in terms of their culture. Yes, it's year 2 with Bruce Arians, but the culture overall of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers barely changes at all, other than Tom Brady being brought into the team. And suddenly, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are back in the Super Bowl. And I think it was a holy crap moment for a lot of different NFL teams out there. Because they had suspected for a long time in the back of their mind, hey, we're just a quarterback away. That's what you hear a lot of teams say, right? Hey, man, we got a pretty good defensive line. We got some good skill position players at wide receiver. But when your quarterback is Jameis Winston and he goes out and he throws 30 interceptions and he fumbles the ball a bunch of times, how are you going to overcome a guy who throws 30 interceptions, even throwing 30-some-odd touchdowns and joining the 30-30 club is not in any way making up for all of that futility? Well, the answer is you bring in Tom Brady. He throws over 40 touchdown passes, only throws, I think it's 12 or 13 interceptions, and boom, you're in the Super Bowl. And everybody else out there is looking around and saying, wait a minute, why couldn't that be us? Why can't we go find our own version of Tom Brady? And that's why I think we're going to see the wildest offseason at the quarterback position that we have ever seen in the NFL. I ran through last week, and maybe I need to keep updating this, and I told you there were only 12 teams that I felt like were 100% committed to their starting quarterbacks. That means there were 20 teams that were willing to make a move to have a new quarterback. And last week, we played you GM Les Snead's take on Jared Goff, and I came on, go back and listen to last week's show, and I said Jared Goff is done with the Rams. When your GM says that your future with the team is a beautiful mystery, and when he says that you are the quarterback as of right now, that means that you are done. And so there was no doubt, even if you kind of ran through all of the questionable things, like Jared Goff is the backup quarterback, but he's not starting against the Seattle Seahawks. And the responses from Sean McVay, the glares on the sideline, it had turned into a really toxic relationship in LA. And I think what happened is Sean McVay went in, beat on the table, and said, look at how good this team is. We are loaded at wide receiver. Our offensive line is very legit. We've got the 2 best defensive players in the entirety of the NFL in Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. We don't need to be the best at the quarterback position, but if you get me a top 10 quarterback, we can win the Super Bowl. And Jared Goff is not a top 10 quarterback. And so I believe there's zero doubt at all that what happened is everybody's looking at Tom Brady and everybody wants their version of Brady, a veteran who can come in and provide consistency and stability to an already talented team, and that can be the jet fuel that takes a team to the next level. And so, the Rams were so desperate to get Matthew Stafford that they made a remarkable decision. They went and gave up an absolute ton for him. The Rams have used essentially 4 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 2 third-round picks to get Matthew Stafford. That is how much they believe he is a difference maker for them. Think about that for a minute. 4 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks to get Matthew Stafford. This is the first time 2 number 1 overall draft picks have ever been traded for each other in the history of the NFL. And as a result, Jared Goff is going to be, unless there's major trades that are made, the Rams' last first-round pick in 2016, and they then have traded away their next 7 first-round picks. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. 7 straight years that the Rams have basically decided we don't care about a first-round pick. They gave up 2 first-rounders for Jalen Ramsey. They gave up 2 first-rounders now for Matthew Stafford, plus the guy that they drafted number 1 overall. And so I kind of respect that the Rams, in this era where everybody values draft picks to such an insane degree, the Rams are saying, hey, if we can get the best corner in the league for 2 first-rounders, and if we can go get what we believe is a definite top 10 quarterback for 2 first-rounders, we're going to do it. Now, what they're buying into, basically, is that the Rams' offense, you pair Sean McVay and the ability they have to run the football already with Matthew Stafford, and you are talking about a tremendous amount of success. The last 6 years, this is from Dan Orlovsky, the last 6 years of Matthew Stafford's career in Detroit, his team averaged 89 yards rushing per game. Last year, the Rams averaged 126 yards per game. Stafford has had a 100-yard back in a game 11 times in 12 years in Detroit. The Rams did that 5 times last year. On top of that, Matthew Stafford has had a top 10 defense 1 time in 12 years with the Lions. He went 11-5 that year. So you know that with Matthew Stafford now, you are going to have the ability to run the football and play really good defense. What is Matthew Stafford going to be like when he doesn't have to make the remarkable and the spectacular play in order to be able to be in really good position to win football games? I think the answer is Matthew Stafford is going to be pretty phenomenal with the Rams, and certainly they are paying a big, big dollar value to try to make that the case.